Yeah.
So guys, we've gone live on Facebook. Yes. Okay. So Maria, I'm going to give over the mic to you to introduce the speaker. Okay. And basically, as I stated before, as we started this meeting, there's a low uptake of vaccines in the country. We recently received almost 800,000 doses from the UK of AstraZeneca. We are waiting for further. The government had purchased 13 million vaccines from Johnson & Johnson. That's also another type of vaccine. And it is expected to come in this August. And the plan basically is that the majority of the population to be fully vaccinated by June 2022. Vaccines, according to me, they're a good thing. And but I think what is dragging us behind is misinformation. So I was in another WhatsApp group and people were just discussing some of the myths, and one person said that in their village, people are being told that if you take the vaccine, you die in 2 years' time. So you can imagine how crazy some of these myths are, yeah? So Maria, I'm going to hand over to you to introduce the speaker for today's meeting, who is going to unpack for us the vaccine. Yeah, Maria.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing okay. Before we start this session, I would like Eric to lead us with a word of prayer. Eric?
Let us pray. Father, we thank you. We give you praise. Thank you for gift of life. Thank you for this wonderful morning. I want to pray as we embark on this discussion. Grant us wisdom, grant us understanding, and grant us oneness, and grant us unity. All the things that we are going to be taught, I want to pray that you give us the grace to put it in practicality and the grace to obey everything. We thank you. We pray for the speaker, Lord, as she talks to us. Give her divine wisdom. We thank you and we honor thee. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Thank you, Eric, for that. So now I would like to introduce our speaker. She's Eileen Owallo. She's a medical officer. Her story was, when I read her story, I was quite intrigued, and I'm so happy that she's talking to us today. She's an alumni of Pangani, and while she was there in Pangani, she joined the first aid group, and through that, she was able to gain the passion to do medicine. And I'm so happy that she's here going to talk to us today so that we can learn more about the vaccine and we can stop hearing these rumors and assumptions that have been there, and we can just get the information from a professional. So Eileen, I would like you now to introduce yourself so that we can know more you better.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So my name is Eileen Owallo. I'm a medical officer working at Nairobi County at the moment. As you've heard my story from our host, I don't think I can add any more. But I'm here today to at least talk to everyone about the vaccine so that we can at least have the right information to make an informed decision.
Yeah.
So it's always better, at least if you always have, the information so that you can decide whether you're for the vaccine or not. So it's always good, at least if you have the facts right before you make an informed decision. I think that's what I'm going to try to talk to you about today.
Okay. Eileen, you can take us now through the topic of today.
Okay.
Yes.
So for everyone listening, so I think I'll just start from the beginning. I start by going through COVID-19. What is COVID? For most of us, we've had it enough times in the news, so I don't really need to repeat myself, but we can just remind ourselves. So anyone has it, if there's anyone there with any idea?
Anyone?
Okay. Anyone? willing to chip in? So COVID-19 is an acute respiratory infection that is caused by the SARS-CoV-2, or as you know it, COVID-19 virus. So the symptoms you should look out for when you're suspected to have COVID-19 are normally I would say the same symptoms as a common cold. You can confuse it to a common cold or malaria. So you have fevers, body aches, sore throat, and then when you start developing loss of smell or taste, that's when we can start saying that maybe you have COVID-19. Or even if you just have this normal common cold symptoms, you can just go and have a test, because it's a fairly common disease that everyone is going through now, so that they can confirm whether you have the disease or not. So it's a disease that's ongoing, but it depends, it varies from person to person. So we can have some people who are asymptomatic. By asymptomatic, it just means that you have COVID-19, but you don't show any symptoms. So we have some people who present like that, like they have the disease, but they don't show any symptoms. And then we have people who have mild symptoms. By mild symptoms, I mean people who have symptoms related, like symptoms which are almost the same as the common cold. You have sore throat, you have a runny nose, you have fevers, body aches, and then that's it. And then we have people who develop moderate to severe forms of the disease. So those ones are the ones who have problem with saturation, like they can't, difficulty in breathing, their saturation levels go down. So when it gets to that point, that's why you hear that we have a problem of oxygen in the country, because that's like oxygen is one of the only, or I can say not only, but it's like the main form of treatment for moderate to severe COVID-19. So they have to be put on oxygen along with the supplementary medication. Sawa sawa.
Yes.
Any question? Okay. So
Just, guys, please ask a question regarding any question you have regarding COVID-19 before we move to the next.
Anyone with any question? Anything we can clarify before we move on? Okay. Yes, it's clear. All right. So so far, I can say because it's called COVID-19 because it was discovered in the year 2019 in Wuhan, in China. I think with the history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a disease that was discovered in Wuhan, in China, from a seafood market. So a lot of people in Wuhan, China, were being admitted in the hospital with severe cases of pneumonia. So when they tried to investigate the cause of the pneumonia, that's when they discovered the new virus, which was COVID-19. So that's where it started. Now for the ways we can prevent, I think that's the topic that we are gathered here today to talk about, like ways of prevention. That one someone has to tell me, because we've been hearing it a lot. Everywhere you go, you always see it, even when you're in the matatus, or even when you're in any official building, you just see them everywhere. Yeah? Anyone?
Guys, what are the ways to protect yourself?
I think I think one of the most common ways, the best, is putting on a mask. I think that's the primary one because it's a respiratory disease. So that's just one.
Thank you, Darlene.
Yes.
Always
You
wear
can
a
see
mask.
Joshua is saying social distancing, mask and sanitization.
Very good, Joshua. Yes. So we have social distancing, we have wearing of a mask. Wearing a mask can actually prevent you from getting the disease. They say about 90%, I would say 90% as a preventive measure for you to be able to get the disease. So masks are important. Social distancing, as Joshua said, sanitization, and then you have to wash your hands. Yeah, wash your hands. Now they say that you have to wash your hands from your elbows going down, because you know these days we greet each other using our elbows, India.
Yeah.
So because we use our elbows to greet other people, you know, and the measures on social distancing has reduced, we have to, at least anytime you go, you arrive to your destination, try to wash your hands from your elbows going down, because that's maybe one of the areas that the virus can be able to attach itself, and you won't even think about it because you just think your hands are the ones which are exposed.
Eileen, I also wanted to confirm, like, what is the appropriate mask to wear? Because we have had people saying that you should wear this type of masks to prevent yourself.
I would say the best mask to wear would be an N95 mask. That one gives you about 92% of protection. But you know, N95 masks are expensive and hard to assess for most Kenyans, or most of us. So I would say anything from a surgical mask, the one that you normally use, also okay to use as a protective measure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but if you have money, an N95 would be the best mask for you to wear.
I've seen people recommend that you do 2 masks. And also, I think the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, and I think that's what really guides the conversation on COVID-19, together with the WHO, they recently say that you can wear 2 masks when you're out in the public. How can you be able to breathe with 2 masks? How does that go?
I think it just depends with how your, like, how do you say, the habit. In my profession, I can be able to wear 2 masks and breathe okay. I think it's not really difficult to use 2 masks, but one mask should be okay. If you can't be able to use the 2 masks, then 1 mask should be okay. You use 1 mask and you social distance and you do all the other precautionary measures that you're going to get to later. If you're vaccinated and use a mask, that one should be enough.
Okay.
Mimi niko na swali.
Okay, Joshua, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Mimi nauliza hivi, je, tuseme nimenunua mask leo, naweza tumia bado kesho?
In English, please, Joshua. This is being broadcasted across the globe. So
okay, if I purchase a mask today, is it right for me that I can reuse it tomorrow?
According to my knowledge, if you're using a surgical mask, you can use it for a maximum of 3 to 5 days. 3 to 5 days, then you can change. If it's an N95 mask, you can change it after a whole week. You can use it for a week, then you change the mask.
I see we also have a question from Wendwa. He's asking, I have a question. There are different sources which are thought to have caused the virus. One is from seafood and the other one is from a lab. They haven't been yet verified, but according to you from the medical perspective, what do you think could have been the cause?
According to us, what we are going, like what we're using as of the virus for now is seafood market in Wuhan, China. So that's like the official report that we have for now. Anything about the lab is, I've also heard of that, but it's more of a conspiracy theory. So they're still investigating to know the source of the virus. But as per now, we're just, the information that we have is the virus originated from a sea market in Wuhan, China.
Okay.
I have a question about the vaccine.
Mhm.
After being vaccinated, can you still get infected with COVID?
Yes. So after you're infected, the main purpose of you getting vaccinated is to prevent severe kinds, I would say severe forms of the disease COVID-19. So if you're vaccinated, you can get the milder forms of the disease. You can get like, if you get COVID, then we wouldn't expect you to get the severe forms of the disease, like for you to develop difficulty in breathing, death, or even be on a respirator somewhere in the hospital. If you're vaccinated, that's what we're trying to prevent. So that's the main reason why we vaccinate. There's still chances of you getting COVID, but even if you do get COVID-19, you won't get the severe forms of the disease. So that's the main reason why we are campaigning for a lot of people to get vaccinated, so that there also can be less backload in the hospital. By backload, I mean less people going to be admitted to the hospital. You know, we have a problem with oxygen, which when you get a severe form of the disease, that's one of the main treatment that you can use. So for you to prevent yourself from getting to that point, vaccination is key.
All right.
Is it clear?
So, Madam, you talked about putting on a mask for a surgical mask for at most 5 days. So, are we supposed to be washing the mask after 1 day or doing what?
No. If it's a surgical mask, I mean, you know the blue mask. This one, I have one here. This one, yeah, go away after you use. You don't wash it.
I've been seeing people washing them, hanging them all over. So, I thought that people should be washing them like after a day or something.
No. If you want a mask that you can wash, I think it's common one that you can use. You have the cloth mask. These ones that they sell by the roadside, those ones you can wash. But if you're using a surgical mask, this blue one, or an N95 with another white one, I think I have one here. If you're using those ones, you discard them after use. You don't wash them. And N95 is this one. I don't know whether you can see this mask.
Yeah, I can see it.
So those two you discard after use. You don't wash them.
Okay,
How
thank
effective are the cloth masks?
Huh?
How effective or ineffective are they? The cloth masks, are they as safe?
Yeah, they are effective, but not as safe as a surgical or an N95. I would say maybe about 60%. I'm not so sure about the statistics, but I wouldn't put them in the same class as an N95 or a surgical mask. But they are kind of okay. That's if you maybe go somewhere and you don't have either of these two masks, then you can just use it for a while, then you purchase this other two.
I see we also have a question. Someone is asking, can someone obtain the virus from surfaces or objects? How long does the virus stay on surfaces or objects?
So you can, actually that was the last way that you can get COVID-19. You remember there's a reason why we social distance. We social distance because you can get cough droplets or even cough droplets from any surface, like someone is coughing and then they cough on the door handle or maybe a table or maybe then you hold it. You can be able to contract the virus like that. So that's why we social distance and we wear a mask to protect us from those droplets, because that's like the main way that we can contract the virus.
Okay. Joshua, I see you have a question. You can ask your question.
Does the virus mutate? Because you know some of the virus mutate when they come into contact with some of the drugs. So does it mutate?
When it's inside your body or just outside?
When introduced to the vaccines?
Okay. The virus does mutate. I think you've heard about the Delta variant, this one from India. So it does mutate, and it's a virus that's it's fairly new, and it tends to mutate a lot over a short period of time. That's even one of the main concern that a lot of vaccine makers have and a lot of scientists have, because it's a fairly new virus and its level of mutation is really alarming. I think last year we were just talking about one variant, I think maybe one or two variants of the COVID-19, alpha and beta, but now we have a lot of them. We have alpha, beta, we have gamma, we have the delta that's causing havoc everywhere. So it's still a new virus and it's prone to a lot of mutation.
Another question. So if the virus is able to mutate, how sure are we that the vaccines will be able to protect us 100%, even if the chances of one getting the virus are still there, even after you've been vaccinated? But how sure are we? Like, let's say, for example, if you see the polio vaccine, if one gets the polio vaccines, then you can be rest assured that in the future you're not be able you cannot be affected by polio. So how about the coronavirus? How are we sure with that it will protect us in the future if the virus is able to mutate?
Okay, the thing is, there's still a lot of studies and research which are going on. As I told you, the virus is just fairly new to us, just 2 years old. So what's going on, according to the research that has been published or that's out, if you get vaccinated, there's still chances that you'll get COVID-19. But then, depending on, how do I say it? The main purpose of being vaccinated is for your body to produce an immune response. So anytime your body gets into contact with the virus, it's able to identify the virus, and then through the antibodies that the body produces by help of the vaccine that you get, it's able to neutralize the virus, or the body can be able to mount an immune response so that you can be able to fight the disease. So for now, the vaccines that we have, I think you've had talks about booster shots. So by booster, they mean that you get, if it's depending on the vaccine that you get, there are some vaccines that you get one time, like the Johnson & Johnson. There's the AstraZeneca you get 2 times, I think the one that you have in the pack. So as research is still ongoing and there's still new variants of the virus that are coming out, the vaccines which are being produced, if they find that they're not so effective, but they're still effective as per now. So if the variations of the virus become, develop to such a point that the vaccine is not really effective, there's still some booster shots of the vaccine that you can still be able to get over time, which will still give you enough protection against the virus. So the most important thing is you get your vaccination now, and then as research develops and everything else, they'll be able to develop more, better booster or better forms of the vaccine that can still be able to give you enough protection against it. Is it clear?
Joshua, is it clear? I also had a question, like what are the side effects of taking the vaccine? Because I've seen like people have different effects when they get vaccinated. They are not the same for each and everyone. So like what are the main side effects that one can experience?
So the main side effects that are reported are, it's an injection. So the place where you've been, there might be swelling on the injection inoculation point. fevers. The other people who complained of body aches and pains. You know, and something like a sore throat or something, but it's not anything outside of that I've had reported, especially from the people who've been vaccinated. So it's just fever, body aches. Some people are just like fatigue, and then normally pain on the inoculation side, on the injection side. Those ones are like the 4 main side effects that are reported by people who've gotten the vaccine. And then there are other rare side effects. So there's some people who report, especially in women, they report that their periods have been missing for a while. So that one is quite normal, according to what they report. So your periods might miss for maybe a couple of months. They say maybe 1 or 2, and after that, they should go back to normal.
So the other thing I've seen some women report is if the periods are not missing, you get now periods for a longer period of time. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'd seen earlier Immaculate had a question.
Immaculate, you can ask your question.
It wasn't a question, it was more of what I needed the clarification. She said, you guys are, oh, okay, yeah. She said that it's a new virus, but I read this thing somewhere. It was back in the, is it 70s? I'm not sure. It's something that has been there before. Oh, and a quick question. Do we have, like, besides AstraZeneca, say that's the only vaccine in the country, like right now, like when we're speaking, what's in the country?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm done.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, we can hear you, Dr. Eileen. Yeah.
There was sorry, I didn't get your name. Someone was reporting about 70s.
The name is,
can you repeat your question?
I needed a clarification, like I read somewhere the virus was back in the, is it 7? I'm not sure the year, but it was back then. So it's not new. Yeah.
That's right. So there are a lot of conspiracies and speculations that are going outside, you know. Some things that we also, we don't know. For me, the information that we have is the one I told you about the Wuhan in China in 2019. So if there's anything outside outside of that, I think, because they're still investigating, there's still a lot of investigations that are ongoing about the origin of the virus, because there are also some people who speculate that, I don't know, it was like a biological warfare, something of the sort. So there's still ongoing, how do you call it, ongoing investigations on the origin of the virus. So we are still not, we still don't have enough information.
Anyone else with a question?
Do we have another vaccine beside AstraZeneca? Because a person, for me, I read, okay, AstraZeneca had these issues back then, so it's kind of crazy going for a vaccine from a company that had, yeah, stuff going on.
Yeah, but they had issues, but the issues that are reported, they're reported by, it's a small percentage of people who report the side effects that are how would I say, the side effects that are reported in the news. You know, the blood clots, that's the main side effects of the AstraZeneca vaccine. So the number of people who've reported who've reported the side effect of experiencing blood clots after the AstraZeneca vaccine is a small number. I would say a small amount of people in the population. So if you kind of weigh between the benefits of you getting the vaccine and the benefits of and the disadvantage of you not getting the vaccine, I think if you weigh the pros and cons, then it's probably better if you get the vaccine. Because so far, even in Kenya, since they started administering the AstraZeneca vaccine, we've not had any report of anyone reporting any blood clots or any severe adverse effect of the vaccine, according to my report. So it just depends on you. I told you, we just give the information and then you make the informed decision. But according to my information, or maybe they are supposed to bring more of other vaccine. I had Pfizer and J&J are supposed to bring some consignment. We're still not sure when they're supposed to arrive, but for now we just have AstraZeneca. So we just use what is there with us.
Like, I also wanted to ask, like, if you get your first dose, like, how long does it take to get the second dose?
Normally, if you get your first dose, you're supposed to get your second dose by, they say the 4th week, but it depends. From 4, it can be from 4 weeks to, they say from 4, a window period of 4 to 8 weeks is okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a question, Dr. Ari. How do vaccines work in general? And maybe now we localize now to the COVID-19 vaccine.
So the COVID-19, so vaccines are of different kinds. We have the DNA and the RNA vaccine. I wish I had a presentation to show you, but they're of two kinds, a DNA and an RNA vaccine. So with an RNA vaccine, you just, from the injection, you get the injection, it enters your body, then it's supposed to fuse with the cells of your body. Let's just give a specific of maybe one cell. So it's an RNA vaccine. I'm giving an example. It fuses with your cell membrane. So the RNA information, I don't know whether you'll understand me, but the RNA is supposed to produce some certain proteins using your ribosomes. Okay, it's supposed to produce some okay, let me just make it easy. It's supposed to produce proteins that are supposed to appear on some receptors on your cell. So this protein is the one that when it appears on the receptors of your cell, when your immune response is able to identify the protein that the vaccine has produced, that one is supposed to produce, like, mount an immune response with the help of your body. Then when your body develops that immune response, anytime after vaccination that you still receive, like any COVID, the virus enters your body, since your body has already developed that immune response and it has that memory of that protein. So anytime you have the virus infecting your body is able to mount an immune response, and then it's able to fight the virus off. So it's able to mount a fair attack. I don't know whether it's clear, but it's just basically to make your body recognize the enemy before it attacks your body, you know. So it's able to know the enemy before you get the disease. Is it clear?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's clear.
So it's just, I think maybe we can just give an example. You know the way soldiers prepare for war. So, you know, you always have to be ready for battle without knowing when the war, like when you're going to be deployed to go and fight in a certain area. So it's the same thing that your body is doing. So with the vaccine, your body is just knowing that it's supposed to prepare for war. By war, I mean to mount an immune response in case you're attacked by the virus COVID-19. So the vaccine is just a way for your body to know the virus before you get it. So that when you actually get the disease, your body is able to mount an immune response that's sufficient enough for you to be able to fight the disease without harming it. It's clear.
Yeah, no, that makes it clear. Why are we being told to take the vitamin C tablets, and how long can one take them? Can you take it on a daily basis for as long as the virus is around, or are there any other side effects? And how is it effective in fighting the COVID-19 virus?
Okay, I would say vitamin C, vitamin D, that one you've had to. There's supplements that you can take, but the thing with supplements, you know, if you take them over the counter, most of the times you're not really told about the dosage that you're supposed to take. So what we normally advise is take vitamin C is good because it helps the body. It's just good because it makes your immune system stronger. So that's basically what people are advised to do. You exercise, walk, sunshine, vitamin C. So those ones are just ways of you making your immune system stronger.
Okay. So if the over-the-counter sources of vitamin C, like the supplements, if they have side effects, which is the best source in terms of food? What can we eat to ensure that we have a lot of vitamin C in our bodies?
In terms of food, you have the citrus fruits. We have oranges, we have lemons, we have pineapples, which are really good. Watermelon. So I wouldn't say that you eat a selective amount of fruits. You can just eat a wide variety of fruits, you understand? So that you can also have other vitamins, because you know it's not also recommended that you just have one kind of vitamin. Najua, you need to have everything, because you have like a variety of fruits and vegetables. That one also helps your body to build a stronger immune system, like for your immune system to be stronger. So just fresh vegetables on a regular basis, clean water, then you try to move as much as possible. By moving, I mean walking, exercising, fresh air. That one should be good.
Okay, so the other things that I've seen that they gained traction with the COVID-19 is this mixed concoction called dawa of ginger, garlic, honey, infused in water. Then the other thing is steaming with eucalyptus trees leaves. So how effective are these, and what do they help in?
Okay. Normally with ginger or the dawa concoction, the one unaita, they help. They do help, but I would say they help when you have a mild form of the disease. It's like when you have a common cold. When you have a mild form of the disease, you're in a manisha. It's just a common cold. So when you have a runny nose, stuffy nose, when you have fever or muscle aches and pains, the concoction, by concoction we mean the lemon, ginger. There's some people who even put a bit of chili inside, cayenne pepper. That one is really good when you have a mild form of the disease. Now, when it's severe, that one you just have to go to the hospital, because that one the only way you can be able to be helped is by oxygen therapy, and that one you can only go to get it in the hospital. So for the mild forms of the disease, the concoctions can help, because they actually help, if you have a congestion, and to be able to elevate fever and all these other things.
Okay. Maurice, I see you have a question you can ask. Maurice, I see you have raised your hand.
Okay, my question is about that virus, where people are talking about the virus like being there for like over a long time or period. Then we are saying like this is a virus, and most of the time we know that the virus don't have cure. Then we have people in the hospital who are believed to be having the virus. So which medicine is it used to treat them? Since you say like the virus does not have a cure. So how is it like, for example, like Lily's case, she was in hospital. So what was it used like? What was used to treat her, since it does not have cure? Then my other question is, like is it possible that, are there chances that our bodies will develop its own natural immune system whereby it will be able to conquer the virus with time, maybe? And the third question is, the vaccine you are like advising us to take, what is it made of? Is it a dead virus which is going to fight the one which is alive in our body, or what is it made of? Like, what is it like that is being injected in our body? Is it another virus which is dead or alive? Because I believe virus is, you just use another virus to fight another one. Like, you study how people make medicine, like you'll realize they make one dead, another alive, blah, blah, so many things. So you can clarify on those three questions, kindly.
I think we have lost Dr. Eileen. Lily?
So let me see what's up.
Okay.
I think she must have dropped off the call. So anyway, I think as we wait for her to rejoin, we can share what we've learned until she joins. I'm going to go and I'll just mention someone just to say what you've learned. David, you can start us off.
David, what have you learned? Morris, mute your mic.
Or do we have any volunteers?
Yes.
Okay, proceed, David.
I've learned about after being vaccinated, you can still get the virus. I still get the COVID, but it prevents you from that severe symptoms. Also, it prevents you from getting it easy. Also about the food, I've heard like you should eat more vegetables. Yeah, vegetables. They are the most preferred one. Yeah, that's what I've learned.
Angie.
Angie, can you hear us?
We can take Rachel.
Okay, I've learned that how the vaccine works. Yeah.
How does it work?
Like how when you have the vaccine, it is going to be like fighting off the COVID when it comes, because it is like a soldier, the way soldiers go to war. They're going to protect your body.
Okay. Bridget.
I've learned about the masks, and that we can use the masks for as long as 3 to 4 or 5 days if you're using the surgical mask, and we can also use the material made masks for as long as you're not able to get the surgical masks, but they're not that efficient. So we can use the mask at our disposal, provided that we're able to take it up to the given dates.
Okay. Thank you, Bridget. I think Dr. Eileen is back. Morris, please kindly repeat your question.
Yes, hello, doctor. Hello.
We can hear you, Morris.
The doctor can hear me. I think the doctor cannot hear me.
Sorry, there was a technical hit on my side.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you, Maria.
Okay, she can hear. You can ask the question, Maurice.
Okay, I hope I will. Okay, my question was like I had like 3 questions. The first question was, are there chances that our bodies will defend its own mechanism with time? The other question was, is the virus, you know, like the virus, most of the virus don't have cure like the flu. So it comes to your body, then after some time it goes depending on your body's defense mechanism. So if it does not have a cure, like someone like Lily was in hospital, what was used to treat her? And the vaccine you are being advised to take, what is it made of? Then the other question is this vaccine a dead cell, a dead vaccine, or something which is going to be introduced in our body? Because like many people say like viruses, they are made of another virus to fight another one. Which one is dead? The one being injected or the one we are waiting to enter into our body?
Okay. So I didn't really get the first question well. Can you just repeat it again?
My question is, like the vaccine, is there a chance, are there any chances that our bodies will defend its own mechanism to be able to overcome the vaccine in the virus in future? That is, if you don't get the vaccine, are there any chances that the body will produce its own natural defense mechanism like the flu? Like when you just get flu, then it's over. Are there any chances, according to the research you doctors have done?
So that was, I think it's dependent on an individual. So I wouldn't say that everyone is the same.
Are there any chances?
I stated earlier, there are other people who get the disease like COVID-19 and they're asymptomatic. Like they have the disease, but they don't have any symptoms. It's a small number of people. And there's also a majority of people who get the disease and they either get like mild forms of the disease or they can even get like severe forms of the disease. You understand? So there's you really can't say like which person falls under which category. You understand?
Okay.
As a preventive measure, most healthcare professionals advise patients to get the vaccine because we can't be able to tell whether your body, there are some people who have a strong immune system and there are others whose immune system is weak. So we can't really tell which person falls under which, though it also depends. If you have a strong immune system, like most of the people, like, the vaccine is given to most of the people over 18 and above. If you're under, they assume that you have a stronger immune system that can be able to fight off disease. So there are also other cases of people who are that young and they still get severe forms of disease.
I think I can't hear you, like your voice is too low.
Daktari, you are cutting off.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now you are clear.
Sorry. So I was saying it depends on a lot of factors. There's age, one. So the younger you are, the better your immune system is. Like it's easier for you to be able to mount a stronger immune response against any disease. The older you are, when you're older, you get also a lot of comorbidities, a lot of things that come along with age. You have diabetes.
Maurice, mute your mic.
So your body is also not able to mount a strong immune response against a disease. So I would say age is a deciding factor. There's also genetics. There are just people who are born with good immune system, like it's genetically inclined. And then it also depends on whether you're struggling with any sort of disease. That's why they even say that people who have pre-existing medical conditions are advised to get the vaccine first. Diabetic patients, hypertension, people who have kidney issues. So it depends on, I would say, a myriad of factors. So it's not always the same for one person to the next. Is it clear, Maurice? So that's why, because we are not sure, not because you're not sure, but because we're not sure how one person can vary from the next one, everyone is advised to get a vaccine so that you can be sufficiently protected from the virus in case you're infected by it.
I think he had also asked about like the people who are in the hospital, like what medicine is being used to treat them because there is no cure.
It's not like there is no cure.
Mm-hmm.
It's with COVID-19, depends on which like the severity of the disease that you have. So if it's like moderate disease, but you still can be able to breathe well, you don't need oxygen. So they just give you like antivirals, can get them as treatment. They can give you some vitamin C. You can be able to get some anticoagulants because it also causes coagulation. So they just give you that to be able to support your body. Then your body will be able to fight off the disease eventually. If it's a severe disease, then that's when they give you oxygen along with the other medication, and then they wait for your body to be able to ward it off if it's able to. If it's not, then most of the people, if you've had, they die from the disease.
Okay.
I think, Maurice, when I was first diagnosed with COVID-19, I was given a myriad of drugs, and I think those that I can remember off the top of my head is the azithromycin antibiotics. Then I was given the vitamin C and zinc. Of course, after consulting with other doctors, I was also asked to take vitamin D, the tablets. When I went to hospital, one of the things, so I went to hospital because I had difficulty in breathing, and I was put immediately on oxygen. And then after it stabilized a bit, I was taken for a CT scan that showed my lungs had been affected. And I think after that, then I was given another set of drugs, and I think one of them was steroids. Yeah. While I still remained on oxygen until the third day, when now they noticed now I could be able to breathe on my own. So what was the function of the steroids?
So the steroids are normally given when you have a severe form of the disease. As you mentioned, you had difficulty in breathing. That one is severe. So they give you the steroids so that they can be able to help your body. It's basically most of the time it's just to be able to help you to ease congestion so that you can be able to breathe better. But it also depends. Some places they say it helps, some places they say it not. But in Kenya, we actually give steroids when we have severe.
Okay. So I think that the other thing that I'd like maybe to bring to the attention to this meeting is the oxygen saturation levels. For me, I noted number one, before I even started experiencing the problem in breathing, during the day I had gone to, so I used to go on a daily basis to a clinic to measure my oxygen, and it was at 88. So of course that was a first red flag. And later in the day now, when I started struggling to breathe, I realized that I didn't even measure my oxygen, but I just noted I can't breathe because I was even having difficulty in swallowing food. When I reached the hospital, I think after around 30 minutes, my oxygen levels were at 83. On the other end, I think my father, by the time, he also had COVID and he passed on. So by the time he was getting to hospital, his oxygen levels were at 36. So maybe you could explain to us the issue of the oxygen levels and saturation.
So normally, I think maybe we should just go to normal saturation levels. If you're saturating above 92, that one is considered normal. So anything below 90, 92 there, that's when they would say that you're saturating poorly, and they would recommend oxygen therapy. As we mentioned earlier, COVID-19 is an acute respiratory illness disease that affects the respiratory tract. So depending on which part of your respiratory tract is affected, then it produces like different different levels, like the different levels of saturation. If you have a milder form of the disease, as I mentioned earlier, you won't develop that severity of the difficulty in breathing, which a number of people develop. So also the difficulty in breathing, if it's detected earlier, chances of you being able to get the right form of treatment, which is oxygen. If you arrive at a hospital and they give you oxygen early in advance, then chances of you surviving are better, like improved chances of survival. So if you go really late to the hospital, then it's very unfortunate.
I see we also have Grace. Grace, you have a question you can ask.
So I was asking, like, how do you know this is safe? Taking something that will either make you miss your periods, or something that will, when you have your periods, it will prolong them. Like, it hasn't been there for long enough for us to know it doesn't affect the reproductive system. What if after some years we find out it is affecting like the reproductive system? And if a virus, like if the vaccine is a weaker form of the virus, it's a new virus, yes. How do we know that everyone, like the weak form of the virus, your cells will react to that appropriately? Yeah.
So with your first question, you said something about periods. So I said that you can either miss your periods, or some people will have periods which are heavier than usual.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned that one, like according to the report that has been out, it should last for a few months. Like a few months, I think maybe around 4 months, then your periods should go back to normal after that. That's according to the research. For the second question, you said it's a weaker form of the virus.
Yeah, like I don't know how much it has been tested to prove that everyone's cells will react to it well. And what if after the virus gets you, like it doesn't, like it actually affects you instead of giving you the vaccine itself? Understand what I'm asking?
Okay, so normally before a vaccine is given to the public, it goes through various like different phases of trial before they actually start injecting people. So there's like a preclinical period where they actually test it on animals first, write down the side effects. If it's safe, then they start with a small number of people. They say around 100 people. That's like the first phase. So they test it with healthy people, see how they react to the vaccine. Then after that, it can be given to a larger, they say like a larger study of people, and then they actually study it. So they write down the side effects. They have to calculate the recommended dose that each person can be able to get for them to produce the appropriate immune response. And they actually have to determine the efficacy of them. So before the vaccine was actually given, like pre-authorized by the FDA to be given to everyone in the world, it had to go through various tests, which it passed. And then after that, that's when now it was authorized to be used as an emergency vaccine for the rest of the world to use.
Okay, so like, is the vaccine being given to pregnant mothers, or are we having cases where we have women who have gotten pregnant after getting the vaccine?
It depends. I think pregnant mothers are not being given the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Like pregnancy is a complication, so they are not being given the vaccine. I think it hasn't changed. It's not given to pregnant women and lactating mothers. Yes.
Why?
Sorry, Dr. Eileen? had seen a post, I think it was made by Nairobi Hospital, announcing for the vaccines, and there was a note there that pregnant and lactating mothers were highly encouraged to take the vaccine. And I think the head of AMREF, Dr. Gedenji Gitahi, also went live on, I think, Instagram to encourage pregnant and lactating moms to go for the vaccine. And for him, they said really there was no research that has shown that it has considerable effect on this group of people.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
I was
So, but
that's how I was beginning. Like pregnant women and mothers were not receiving the vaccine. That's why they had to go now backtrack and say that they can be able to get it. Now it's
okay.
Yeah. So as I said, it's fairly new.
Anyone else with a question?
Oh, you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
It's not a question for me. It's like I did a lot of conspiracy theories. Don't judge. So I read this book.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Children of the Matrix. It was published in 2001, and the author is saying they'll create viruses and they'll sell you vaccines. So you're like thinking they're helping, but they're not. Do you think it's a coincidence?
Grace, mute your mic.
Yeah, hey, Grace.
Maybe I did wrong things. Don't judge. It's something I read.
It's not wrong. I'm just saying like there are a lot of things that happen in the world. For some of this world, but I wouldn't say that. Now, how can I explain it to you? Like we live in the world as citizens, but there are other people who govern whatever is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it's just to sit and observe. If there's someone, I don't know, because there are a lot of conspiracy theories that even came out. There are a lot of movies that people are relating to Corona and the epidemic, and people actually predicting it to have, like, to happen in the future. So I don't know. You get even confused in the middle sometimes, honestly. So it might be true, as some people even speculate that it's like a biological warfare or something. So we don't really, I wouldn't say that I have the right information.
Thank you. Maria, I think we can now wrap up.
Okay, so David, can you give a vote of thanks to our speaker of today?
Hello, guys. I hope it was a good interaction with the doctor. Thank you, doctor, for letting us know more about the COVID vaccination, about the conspiracies that are there. I know there are many myths and misconceptions about the COVID because it caught us unaware, but we just live the way it is and we prevent ourselves the way we can also. So thank you very much for that. And we appreciate so much. It will help us with taking care of ourselves and believing in this COVID. Also, I would urge people to always wear your mask whenever you are in public. because you don't know who's next to you. You don't know who was there before you. Also, let us, when you are told to wash our hands, even when you are going to schools, in our colleges, universities, let us wash our hands and let us stay safe because we need each other. Thank you very much, Doctor, and we appreciate so much. Thank you.
I hope I was clear enough, and most of you will make the informed decision. You know, it's not only about you, but it's also about the people you live with, in case you live with someone. So you're not only taking care of yourself, but the people you also live with. So as you're making your right decision, please think about everyone that you live with, your neighbors, your parents, anyone that you're going to visit, because whatever decision that you make will also affect them.
Thank you so much, Dr. for taking us through this session. It was we have learned a lot, and now about the vaccine, people have now understand it more. I also forgot to tell you guys that our doctor was able to get a scholarship and go to study in Serbia for 7 years. This is so encouraging because as a student, we see we can achieve our goals. So as we wrap up, I wanted you to tell us like what was your experience while you were there?
So it was an interesting, I would say interesting, actually. I think it was an interesting experience because I got to meet students from other parts of the world, because it was a scholarship, like people from America, we had people from other African countries, we also had Serbian students there. So it was an amazing experience actually meeting people from other cultural backgrounds and interacting with them. So that was one. Another one was also being an African in a European country. You know, in Kenya, we're here by African. So there's that culture shock. You're introduced to a different way of life that you're not used to, and you're young. So, you know, there's, I would say, that conflict, but you try to find your way as you grow older. But it was an amazing experience. I think I would recommend anyone willing to try. I think always traveling and experiencing different cultures and different meeting people from different walks of life is really important for anyone. So I would encourage people to apply for scholarships, go outside, study if you can, you have the chance. It's really good because it opens your mind to a lot of things.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. And if any one of you wishes to reach out to her, you can. And I hope that we all go and get vaccinated because it's for our benefit and also the people who we are living with, especially our parents. So I think it's a good idea that we go and get vaccinated. Thank you so much for attending this session. And I hope we have all learned something. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye.